What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I want to thank you as always for stopping by the channel. You guys are all amazing. If this is your first time here, I want to welcome you to the Silver Screen Analysis. It's your one-stop place for movie reviews and film talk. I hope you enjoy what you hear in this video and decide to come back for more in the future. Today, though, we definitely have a fun comedy to talk about starring Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen called Long Shot. The story in this one follows Fred Flarsky. He's a journalist that ends up reuniting with his childhood crush Charlotte Field when she ends up making a run at the United States presidency. She was out of his league then, she's out of his league now, but there could be some potential sparks between them with Flarsky coming back into her life at the right time. After watching the trailers, I was all in on this movie. I was very excited for it despite the clear formulaic foundation to it. I love comedies, Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen, so it all just seemed like a perfect fit for me. Despite being an all-around amazing actress, I think Theron has a great comedic sense to her. I think her timing and just the blunt delivery that she has is routinely amusing. I would love to see her in more genre films like this. As for Rogen, well, I feel there is a lot of his personality within my own, just as my very extremely patient wife, so I tend to find even his more overbloated humor to be kind of amusing. So there were naturally some built-up expectations for this movie with me, not for it to deliver an inspirationally creative storyline, but for it to simply make me laugh with some likable characters that would capture some charisma through their personalities, which is exactly what I thought this movie was able to do. I wanted to like it, and I ended up loving it, I have to say. Admittedly, I was slightly worried with Jonathan Levine directing. I didn't really enjoy Snatched all that much, despite being very excited to see Goldie Hawn coming back, but I did love his film prior to that, being The Night Before. The scripts were drastically different in those movies, so for this one going in, I was optimistic. This is the third Levine-Rogen collaboration, and it's very clear to me that their humor is very much on the same page because this was a surprisingly hilarious film in my opinion. The screenplay from Liz Hannah and Dan Sterling was very sharp. I thought it was clever at times, but it was also crude and ridiculous, which was a perfect fit for this plot in my opinion. I enjoyed how the story was really able to build the connection between these two characters. It was a simple opposites attract scenario overall, but I thought there was some heart and some sincerity really woven into the backdrops of who these characters were. So for me, this was able to just sell me on how they were actually able to be attracted to one another. More specifically, how Theron's character could find some interest in Rogen's despite differences in life stature and economic status. I mean, we can all see how he would be attracted to her. She's a strong, intelligent goddess that's successful, but rather than just simply slapping them together and expecting the viewer to just take it at face value, I think the script was really successfully able to build some connections between them. Some of the similarities personality-wise were explored, I thought, with some comedic results, as were some of their differences that maybe ended up being some of the things that they ended up having in common. Regardless, it really sold me on at least being able to believe that these characters could grow to find some comfort and some love in one another. It was sort of a touching element of the storyline that was kind of worked in nicely amongst all the amazingly crude and raunchy humor that came from the dialogue, the scenarios birthed throughout the storyline, and most importantly, from the performances of Theron and Rogen. Individually, they were both fantastic. Together, their chemistry was amazing. The timing between them was extremely natural, which I felt made their back and forth come across as more authentic and that much more amusing. Rogen was his usual self, which worked for the needs of the role. It was Rogen being Rogen, and it did what it needed for this movie. Theron, though, was the subtle anchor of the comedic relief in my opinion. She was the single person who elevated this movie amongst many other comedies just like it. This is certainly more of a raunchy rom-com than it is a political comedy, despite having a strong influence of it, but I thought Theron was really able to capture the presence of a political figure that's taking her shot at the presidency. When she's in the public eye, she's very tense and tightly wound. She carries a presence about herself despite still having a charm as well, and it was something that Theron really captured with ease. Then when she's behind closed doors and in the company of Rogen's free-spirited Fred Flarsky, you can kind of just see and feel the release of pressure in her. She can be herself without judgment, and it was really able to kind of bring the story some solid humor, but also able to convey why these two people were able to find love in each other. These emotional layers were actually genuine and kind of sweet, which I thought complemented all the drug and sex-related humor like peanut butter complements jelly. Everything in this movie, despite many familiar tropes, just seemed to fit together nicely. It does run a little bit long, but it's only briefly, as many scenes seem like they do kind of work for the needs of the story progression. So I'm going to give long shot 90% on the entertainment meter. I have no doubt I'm going to like this movie more than many people, but I think it was a success. There were moments here and there where it does sort of feel like an assembly line comedy, but with Theron and Rogen being a surprisingly perfect fit and seeing them really embrace these characters with a heartfelt raunchiness made the movie a good time. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I'd love to talk movies with you guys. Share it with your friends, and without question, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can never miss a video. Here are some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them. All my social media links and the link to our official website are down in the description below, and I'll catch you next time.